An important hadith that talks about Emad Salih, narrated by Abu Hurairah, reported in Bukhari. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقتتل فئتان عظيمتان من المسلمين تكون بينهما مقتلة عظيمة دعوتهما واحدة وحتى يبعث دجالون كذابون قريب من 30 كلهم يزعم أنه نبي حتى يقبض العلم وتكثر الزلازل ويقرب الزمان وتظهر الفتن ويكثر الهرج وهو القتل وحتى يكثر فيكم المال فيفيض حتى يهم رب المال من يقبل صدقته وحتى يعرضه عليه فيقول الذي يعرضه عليه لا أرض لي به وحتى يتطاول الناس في البنيان وحتى يمر الرجل بقبر الرجل فيقول يا ليتني مكانك وحتى تطلع الشمس من مغربها فإذا طلعت ورآها الناس آمنوا أجمعون فذلك حين لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا وتقومن الساعة وقد نشر الرجلان ثوبهما بينهما فلا يتبايعانه ولا يطغيانه ولا تقومن الساعة وقد انصرف الرجل بلبن مقحته فلا يطعمه ولا تقومن الساعة وهو يريد حوضه فلا يسقي فيه ولا تقومن الساعة وقد رفع أكلته إلى فيه فلا يطعمه. This hadith, Prophet ﷺ says that these are all signs of the judgment. علامات الساعة الصورة. He says لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقتتل فئتان عظيمتان من المسلمين تكون بينهما مقتلة عظيمة دعوتهما واحدة. He says the day of judgment will not come until some kind of battle will happen between Muslims. And he said these are two major groups of Muslims. And they are on the same path. They are Muslims, دعوتهما واحدة. They have the same path and same way of thinking, subhanAllah. But still, fighting will happen between them and a lot of people are going to be killed. This, all the scholars mentioned that it refers to the fighting that happened between the Muslims after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, mainly between Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu wa Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and who followed this and who followed that. As Muslims, we are not allowed to talk about who did wrong or what kind of problems happened, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold everyone accountable for what they did right and what they did wrong. Because we are below the level of these people. If your father, for instance, did something wrong, you can't say, oh, my father was wrong. It's not of the adab. It is not it's not appropriate to talk about somebody who's better than you. But we know, based on the hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu and the people who followed him were closer to what is right, and they were treated unjustly, and that the ta'if of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu was unjust, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says وَإِحَا عَمَّارْ تَقْتُلُهُ الْفِئَةُ الْبَاغِيَةُ. He talked about Ammar. What's his last name? Ammar ibn Yasir. Ammar ibn Yasir, one of the great Sahaba. Prophet ﷺ one time looked at him and he says, I feel sorry for Ammar, or I feel pity for Ammar. He will be killed by the unjust group. So we call the group that killed Ammar unjust. Fi'al Baghiyah. The one that has transgressed or has exceeded its boundaries. And Ammar ibn Yasir, it is well documented that he joined the group of Ali ibn Abi Talib. And he was almost 90 years old, but they had help. Even at 90 years old, they had help, and he could go and fight. Subhanallah. And he was killed in that fight. So we know who was right and who was wrong, but we don't go into the details of this. So this happened. The fighting happened, and he even talked about Ammar, who was going to kill him and who was going to kill him. Subhanallah, all these details were mentioned before they happened. Also, Prophet ﷺ mentioned, looked at the Hassan. I don't remember the Hassan or Hussein. I think it's Hassan. He says, إن ابني هذا سيد وسيصلح الله به بين طائفتين عظيمتين من المسلمين. He says, my son Hassan or Hussein, I don't remember. is a great man. And Allah will bring reconciliation between two great group of Muslims by him. What happened is, he was the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib, as we all know. And after Ali ibn Abi Talib defeated his opponents, Hassan took control of the Khilafah for a short period of time. I think it was 6 months. But then the other people were not happy, and they wanted to continue fighting. So what he did is, he says, okay, I will leave the Khilafah to Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, so as to stop the fighting between the Muslims. So this was also mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ in the Ibn Hada Sayyid, وَصَيُصْلِحُ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَيْنَ طَائِفَتَيْنِ عَظِيمَتَيْنِ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So this incident happened just like the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that would happen, and it ended just like the Prophet ﷺ mentioned it would end. And then he says, وَحَتَّى يُبْعَثَ دَجَّالُونَ كَذَّابُونَ قَرِيبٌ مِنَ الثَّلَاثِينَ كُلُّهُمْ يَزْعُمُ أَنَّهُ نَبِيٌّ. In another hadith he says, إنه يبعث 27 دجالا كلهم يزعم أنه نبي منهم 4 نسوة. He says almost 30 people will claim after me that they are prophets. Almost 30 people. And in the other hadith he says specifically 27. And he says 4 of them are women. And they all claim they are prophets. In that other hadith he says, أَلَا إِنَّهُ لَا نَبِيَّ بَعْدِ. He says it's simple, there's no prophet after me. Don't be confused. We don't have to even look at what he's saying. If someone comes and says, I am a prophet, I do this and this, like Mirza Ghulam Ahmad and all these other people, and the people who hold the Baha'iyya people, and some people came in these days, like Joseph Smith in North America, was followed by the Mormons. We don't even have to see what these people have to say, because it is clear from many ahadith and ayat that there's no prophet after the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Everyone who comes and claims he's a prophet, he's a liar. Regardless of what he says, regardless of what power he says. You know that the Dajjal, when he comes, the Dajjal, Allah will give him powers that are very strong. And the details, no time to talk about it, but it's mentioned that يُشِيرُ لِلسَّمَاءِ فَتُمْطِرُ وَيُشِيرُ لِلْأَرْضِ فَتُنْبِتُ. Allah will give him powers to examine the people and test the people's faith. He can point to the sky and it starts raining. He can point to the land that is dead and it starts bringing out crops. And then وَيَذْهَبُ إِلَى الْخَلِبَةِ فَيُشِيرُ إِلَيْهَا فَتُخْرِجُ مَا بِهَا مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ. He goes to a junkyard and he points at it and all the valuable things come out. Subhanallah. So all these are trial for the people. So these are very strong things that can make people confused. But where does the confusion come from? The confusion comes from not listening to the Prophet ﷺ and what he has said. He told you this is going to happen and he is going to have these powers and he's a liar. And then he comes to you just because he has these powers. We have to believe in him? We were told this is going to happen and we were told he will have these powers. So if someone comes, and actually Dajjal, before he claims he is God, he will claim that he is a prophet. So if he comes with these powers, Dajjal, and he says and starts saying he's a prophet, are we just going to believe him because he said so and he had these powers? No, we shouldn't, because we were told, if we listen to the hadith, that this is going to happen, and he's a liar, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the last prophet. Period. You don't listen anymore whatever anyone else has to say. And some people came after the life of the Prophet ﷺ immediately, like Musaylim al-Kazzab, Al-Aswad al-Ansi, Sijah. They claimed to be prophets. Musaylim al-Kazzab claimed to be a prophet in Yamama. Sijah claimed to be a prophet. I think she was in Taif, I'm not sure. And I'm a prophet, you're a prophet, let's get married. They got married. And then actually after that Musaylim got killed. Sijah repented and she came back to Islam again. Aswad al-Ansi claimed to be a prophet in Yemen. He was killed. And he was killed by, and he was the one, I mentioned the story of one of the Sahaba, when Aswad al-Ansi wanted him to bear witness that he is a prophet. And the Sahabi said, no, I will never bear witness to something like this. I just don't remember the Sahabi's name. And this is the Sahabi he put in the fire. And subhanallah, by a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Sahabi came out of the fire unhurt. And he stayed there for a while and he came unhurt. When he came back to Medina, Umar al-Khattab says, Alhamdulillah, الذي أراني في أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم من فعل به ما فعل بإبراهيم. But Ibrahim was put in the fire, nothing harmed him. And this happened to this Sahabi. Just don't remember his name right now. But I did mention the story before, one time in Isha. So, you can count. The 30 that is mentioned, or the 27, that refers to the bigger ones, to the major imposters. These people who claim they are prophets, but they have impact. Minor ones, you can have a person here and there mention, well, I'm a prophet, and nobody listens to him, and he has no impact in history or on the people. That is not mentioned. That's not even worth mentioning. And these are maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people who come every now and then and say, oh, I'm a prophet. But you don't pay attention to these ones. You look at the big ones that were followed by millions of people or thousands of people. They, actually, for instance, there's a hadith, يخرج من ثقيف مبير وكذاب. He says that the tribe of Thaqif, from this tribe, there will come a liar who claims to be a prophet, and also there will come a man who kills so many people. Mudir al-Kadhab. There was a man who claimed to be a prophet that came out of this tribe. I don't recall his name. And the man who was a killer was Al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. He came from that tribe. Both of them actually came from that tribe. And then he says, وَحَتَّى يُقْضَى الْعِلْمِ. And one of the signs of their judgment, قبل العلم, meaning knowledge will be scarce or rare. The knowledge of Kitab and Sunnah, not talking about the knowledge of dunya. Knowledge of dunya is there, but he talks al-ilm. When ilm is referred to in Kitab, in the Quran or Sunnah, it refers to the ilm of Sharia. It refers to ilm of Sharia primarily. So he says the ilm will lessen. And how would the ilm lessen? It is mentioned in the other hadith. Prophet ﷺ says, إن الله لا يقبض العلم انتزاعا ينتزعه من الناس ولكن يقبض العلم بقبض العلماء حتى إذا لم يبق عالما أو حتى إذا لم يبق عالم اتخذ الناس رؤوسا جهالا فسألوهم فأفتوهم بغير علم فضلوا وأضلوا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not remove the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes the ilm is by taking away the ulama, by lessening the ulama, the actual scholars who know the knowledge. Because the ilm of Sharia, you cannot just go to a book and become a alim. You have to know everything. You have to be taught in every detail about the Quran and Sunnah to be able to give a fatwa, a verdict. Because you cannot make a verdict from one hadith or from two hadith. You have to know all the hadith to make a verdict, because there's so much details to everything in Sharia. So you have to know all that. One time Imam Ahmad was asked, أيفتي من يعرف 10,000 حديث قال لا. He says, can someone who knows 10,000 hadith, can he make a fatwa? He says no. And he kept on asking, أيفتي من عنده 20,000 hadith. If he knows 20,000, can he make a fatwa? He says no. Until he says, أيفتي, until he came up, أيفتي من يعلم 1,000 حديث قال نعم. He says, who knows 1 million hadith, and that includes the weak and the strong. You have to know the weak and you have to know the strong, because some people can make a fatwa based on a weak hadith that is not documented as the saying of the Prophet ﷺ and make a wrong fatwa. So you have to know the weak and you have to know the strong, so you know where the wrong fatwa came from and the stronger hadith to oppose that. So you have to know all this. He says, can someone who knows 1 million hadith make a fatwa? He says yes. So it is not easy to give ilm or give a fatwa. You have to know so much. He says that is how the ilm is taken from the people, by taking away the ulama. Less ulama at every generation. And we feel this these days. If you want to know a fatwa right now, look at how lost you will be. You'll have to call here and there, call back home, call this country, go on this website and try to send a message to this alim over there. You will see this all the time. We have problems finding a fatwa in everything that we follow, right? And when you know the number of alim, you feel that you're privileged, because now if you have a problem, you can call that person and get the information that you want. وَحَتَّى يُقْبَلَ الْعِلْمِ. So the ilm will lessen. Although, subhanAllah, it is very interesting that the Prophet ﷺ says that the small alims or people who claim to be alims, they will be plenty. SubhanAllah. حَتَّى اتَّخَذَ النَّاسُ رُؤُوسًا جُهَالًا. People who claim to be alim are going to be plenty. But the real alim are going to be very rare. And he says these people who are claiming to be ulama, people go to them and ask them, and they give fatwa without knowledge, and both the one who's asking and the one who's asked go astray by this fatwa. Subhanallah. فَضَلُّوا وَأَضَلُّوا. Not only that, it is interesting that Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that وَيَكْثُرَ الْقَلَمُ وَتَكْثُرَ الْكِتَابَةِ. So books are plenty and writings are plenty. You go on the internet, all the Islamic books from the time of the Prophet ﷺ until now are on the internet, right? You can find thousands of books, maraja, and big textbooks in Islam, and all the books of hadith on the internet, Sahih Bukhari, and all Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, all on the internet, and all the books of tafsir are on the internet and in the libraries. يكثر القلم الكتابة. You will find everything written down. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ said, that everything will be written. And it is here, and publications are out there. But still, despite all this, he says the ulama are rare. And this is exactly what we are living in these days, that the actual ulama are rare, the false ulama are plenty, and all the publications and books and writings are plenty. وَحَتَّى يُقْبَلَ الْعِلْمُ وَتَكْثُرَ الزَّلَازِلُ. And I said earthquakes will be plenty, and we're seeing this a lot, and this will continue to increase. وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانُ وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانُ. And he says, and time becomes short. You feel, and there's another hadith that says, حَتَّى يَغْدُو الشَّهْرُ كَالْأُسْبُوعِ وَالْأُسْبُوعُ كَالْيَوْمِ وَالْيَوْمُ كَالسَّاعَةِ. He says the month becomes like a week, and the week becomes like a day, and a day becomes like an hour. So time passes fast. We see this, we sense this, right? And even people can feel that maybe when they were younger, time was passing slower than it is passing these days. So وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانِ. This is one of the explanations of وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانِ. Another explanation of وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانِ وَيَقْرُبَ أَهْلُ الزَّمَانِ. أهل الزمان. So the zaman can mean time, or can mean the people who live in that time, the generation. People in every generation will become close to each other. How can they become close to each other? By means of transportation, by means of communication, and also by the cities becoming closer to each other. In the past, cities were very far apart, and there was no ways of communication. You have to travel for months to get from one city to the other. You don't even know what's happening in another place. Now, whatever happens in every corner of the earth, you know it immediately. Within 5 minutes, breaking news. It tells you, oh, something happened this place, something happened this place. You want to contact anywhere, anyone, anywhere in the world, just take the phone or send an email or text message. Subhanallah. You can actually even see them and talk to them through messengers and things like this, right? It's amazing. وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانِ وَيَقْرُبَ الزَّمَانِ. And also the cities have become closer everywhere. You just travel a little bit and you find the city. In almost every place. Of course, North America is an exception, but everywhere else, everything is coming closer. The older countries. Inshallah, we'll finish in the second surah. The next point he mentioned, this hadith, وَتَظْهَرَ الْفِتَنُ وَيَكْثُرَ الْحَرْجُ وَهُوَ الْقَتْلُ. It says fitan. Fitan means turmoil and problems and disasters and things that bring misery. These are fitan. And also fitan applies to everything that takes you away from deen. If you look, both have increased. Everything that takes us away from deen has increased. Ways of entertainment that are out there that take us away from deen are very easy. And people that don't apply the deen in their life are plenty around you. That takes you away from deen. You can hardly apply your deen. You can hardly live with your deen. You want to avoid riba, it's so hard. You want to avoid indecency around you, it's so hard not to see it, right? It is so difficult to avoid fitan these days. Prophet ﷺ mentioned in other hadith, حتى يكون القابض على دينه كالقابض على الجمر. The one who tries to follow his deen and abide by his deen and hold on to his deen as if he is holding on to jamr, means like charcoal that is living. Imagine, you can't even touch a charcoal. It's even more intense than fire. You can put your hand maybe on the fire, but if you touch a piece of charcoal that is lit, it's very difficult. That is lit, it's very difficult. So that is how it is difficult to hold on to the deen. Those are fitan. But the reward is plenty. He says, the one who continues and perseveres and is patient and continues to hold on to his deen, he gets 50 times the reward. 50 times the reward. They said to him, أَجْرُ 50 مِنْهُمْ قَالَ لَا بَلْ مِنْكُمْ. They said to him, maybe 50 times the reward of the people living at his time. These days, he says, no, 50 times the reward that you would get. And then he says, تَجِدُونَ أَعْوَانًا عَلَى الْخَيْرِ وَلَا يَجِدُونَ. He says, you find people helping you to follow your deen, but they can't find anyone. بَدَأَ الْإِسْلَامُ غَرِيبًا وَسَيَعُودُ غَرِيبًا كَمَا بَدَأَ. Islam started strange, and it will become strange. And this is what we are living in. Scholars that published 500, 600 years ago, when they comment on the hadith, بَدَأَ الْإِسْلَامُ غَرِيبًا وَسَيَعُودُ غَرِيبًا كَمَا بَدَأَ, say, and this is what we're living in these days. 500 years ago. When everyone, all the women were wearing hijab, there was no riba around them, no alcohol, and subhanallah, they were saying, oh, Islam is gharib at 500 years ago. What do we say these days? Subhanallah. And then we have to, this is the last point I will mention. This called وَيَكْفُرَ الْقَتْلُ وَالْقَتْلُ. And it says killing will increase. Of course, the fitan, you all know, before I go to the qatl or hajj, fitan, you know the hadith to talk about the fitan. يعني يصبح الرجل مؤمنا ستكون فتن كقطع الليل المظلم يصبح الرجل مؤمنا ويمسي كافرا. Says the fitan will be so strong, the things that take us away from deen, so strong that a person can wake up as a mu'min, as a believer, and at the end of the day he's a kafir. He has lost all his deeds during the day. And he can be at night a believer and next morning he's a kafir because something fell into his heart that is totally against his Islam, and he believed in it. And it distorted his belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. Or he can say something that will take him out of Islam. You find some people, for instance, cursing, for instance, the deen, or cursing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or saying something bad about a hadith or an ayah. Oh no, I don't believe in this. It's a hadith. And say, I don't believe it. That takes you out of Islam. It's as simple as this. You know it's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says yes. And you don't believe in it, how come? Then you don't believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you know it's an ayah, yes I know. You don't believe in it? If he doesn't follow, if he says I believe in it, I know I'm wrong, that's different. He's asi. He has committed a mistake, a sin. But if he says no, I don't approve of this, I don't believe in this, that can take someone out of Islam. Just a single saying. So the fitna will be that much. And then also the fitna, the turmoil and disasters and the things that bring misery are going to be plenty. And I don't even need to speak about it. Just open the news one day and you'll see what I'm talking about, what we are living in these days. لا تقوم الساعة حتى تروا أمورا عظاما لم تحدثوا بها أنفسكم. Things will happen that you couldn't even imagine before are happening, and this is what we're seeing. It says, يتفاقم شأنها في أنفسكم وتسألون هل كان نبيكم ذكر لكم منها ذكرى. It says things will be so hard on you that you start saying that you can't even believe in it or can't even adjust to it, and you say, did the Prophet ﷺ mention anything about it? You start asking, is there a hadith about this? Because it's so big happening in front of your eyes. All this is mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Al-Qatl, the last thing I want to mention, this called Al-Qatl, killing. When in history has killing been more widespread and prevalent than these days? When? Yani a single bomb can kill 10 they can kill maybe 100 people or hundreds of people. Look at, for instance, the atomic bomb they threw on Japan, for instance. And how many millions of people, how many millions were killed? Subhanallah, qatl has become so easy. Yani if you don't find hundreds of people getting killed every single day all over the world, it will be strange. Yani open the news one day, and if you don't find people killing each other, there's something wrong. Maybe your internet is not working or something, but maybe this was yesterday's news. But every day there's killing. Prophet ﷺ says, حتى لا يدري القاتل فيما قتل ولا يدري المقتول فيما قتل. Subhanallah. He says, the killer doesn't even know why he's killing, and the one who was killed doesn't know why he was killed. Subhanallah. And this is really what is happening. You know, look at the armies that are mobilized by the word of one man. Like for instance, look in Pakistan, what is happening. This soldier, he's shooting or he's throwing bombs all over the place and people are getting killed. He doesn't even know whom he killed. He doesn't even know if he comes in the day of judgment, oh, you killed these 100 people. Oh, when did I do this? He doesn't even recall when he killed them because he just threw a bomb and he didn't care where it went. Or he shot someone, he doesn't even know who he's shooting at. And he doesn't even know what is the purpose of him holding this rifle and killing these people. Right? If you go and ask each one of these soldiers, well, why are you killing these people? These are good people. Why are you killing them? He doesn't even know. Oh, I was told to kill them. Subhanallah. He doesn't know why he's killing. And the person living at his home, sleeping at night, finds himself next day in the grave. Being asked, ما دينكم من ربك ما هذا الرجل الذي بعث فيكم. What is your religion? Who's your prophet? And he just went to bed, good night, and next morning he finds himself woken up in the grave. The Malik is asking him, what is your religion? Who's your prophet? He doesn't even know what happened. He just went to bed and woke up next morning dead, killed by someone. A bomb fell on his house, right? How many times do we hear these stories? We live in them every single day. Inshallah, we'll start here.